The freedom of a life without prescribed meaning and purpose. Introduction. From childhood, the mantra that life must have a specific meaning and purpose is embedded in our psyche. This message is reinforced by cultural narratives, literature, and even the well-intentioned advice of our closest allies. The overarching theme is the same: to live a fulfilling life, you must discover your why. But what if I told you that this constant search for meaning is not only exhausting but also unnecessary? What if life could be just as fulfilling, perhaps even more so, without this ceaseless quest for a predefined purpose? Section 1. The societal obsession with meaning and purpose. The belief that life must have a singular meaning or purpose has seeped into nearly every facet of our society. From self-help books to motivational TED Talks, the cultural lexicon is saturated with the idea that a life without purpose is a life wasted. Schools, workplaces, and even social media perpetuate this narrative, often tying our worth to our ability to find and pursue a grand mission. This societal expectation has created an undercurrent of existential stress and anxiety. According to psychologists, the pressure to find one's calling is linked with higher levels of anxiety and depression. Ironically, this search for meaning can lead to a sense of meaninglessness, trapping individuals in a paradoxical loop of existential dread. The quest for purpose becomes a Sisyphean task, where each answer merely uncovers more questions, adding layers of complexity and stress to our already complicated lives. Section 2. The philosophical underpinnings. Existentialist philosophers, like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, have long grappled with the disquieting idea that life may lack inherent meaning. Sartre's concept of existence precedes essence suggests that individuals are not born with a preset purpose, rather, they must create it themselves through choices and actions. Camus, on the other hand, introduces the idea of absurdism, arguing that the quest for meaning is inherently absurd because life's randomness and uncertainty make any definitive answer impossible. However, embracing this absurdity can be liberating. It frees you from the societal expectations of having to find a singular life mission, allowing you to live in tune with your own values and desires. Section 3. The stress of constant seeking. The eternal hunt for meaning and purpose brings its own set of psychological challenges. This ceaseless quest can lead to decision paralysis, the inability to make choices due to the fear of choosing wrong and missing out on one's true purpose. Similarly, comparison anxiety can set in, as we gauge our life's worth based on how it measures up to others, who seem to have their purpose well defined. This often creates a sense of inadequacy, feeding into the belief that we are never enough as we are. Constantly seeking an elusive goal sets up a state of perpetual discontent, undermining mental health and well-being. Section 4. The peace in embracing uncertainty. Letting go of the need for a prescribed meaning and purpose allows for a more peaceful, less stress-driven life. Here, the practice of mindfulness is particularly relevant. Mindfulness teaches us to be present, to live in the moment, without constantly evaluating it based on some distant goal or ideal. It encourages acceptance of what is, rather than what should be according to societal norms. This mental shift toward embracing the uncertainties of life is not a resignation, but an active choice to live more fully in each moment, to appreciate the journey rather than obsess over the destination. A cultural perspective. Different cultures interpret the concept of meaning in diverse ways. In many Eastern philosophies, for instance, the idea of purpose is often less individualistic, emphasizing harmony, balance, and community. Practices such as Buddhism advocate for right living over finding a singular life's purpose. Indigenous cultures might focus more on ancestral traditions and community roles than individual ambitions. This diversity in perspectives offers valuable insights. The stress associated with seeking a life's purpose is not universal, but influenced by cultural factors. Section 5. The skimming stones metaphor. Ripples on water. Imagine tossing a stone, skimming it across the surface of a still lake. Each point where the stone touches the water creates a ripple, momentarily disturbing the calm surface before fading away. In a Zen-like perspective, these ripples can be seen as metaphors for our search for meaning, purpose, and identity. Temporary events that create a semblance of who we are at different points in time. However, just like the ripples, these definitions are not permanent. They come and go, leaving the core essence of the lake, the water, unchanged. The water is not defined by these ripples any more than we are defined by the fleeting roles, goals, or identities we adopt. Understanding this concept liberates us from the relentless pursuit of meaning and allows us to embrace a more fluid, adaptive form of existence. We are not the ripples, we are the water. In recognizing this, we can find peace in life's uncertainties and a kind of freedom that defies conventional wisdom. Section 6: The Authentic Path and the Art of Letting Go. Many believe that to follow an authentic path, one must actively seek and define their purpose and identity. However, the Zen notion of non-action, or Wu Wei, offers a different perspective. Sometimes, the most authentic life path unfolds naturally when we cease striving and simply let go. The freedom that comes from abandoning a prescribed meaning allows us to be more open to experiences, relationships, and opportunities that align with our true selves, even if we haven't explicitly defined what that self is. In this sense, letting go is not a resignation, but a form of active engagement with life. It enables us to be present and to respond genuinely to the situations we find ourselves in. When we stop focusing on the ripples and begin to understand ourselves as the water, an authentic path may emerge. It's a path not dictated by society or existential anxiety, but guided by our own innate wisdom. Section 7 echoes in sacred texts a biblical perspective. The idea that an authentic, meaningful life may unfold through a process of letting go also finds resonance in sacred texts like the Bible. In Christian teachings, the concept of surrender to a higher power often mirrors the Eastern notion of letting go. Verses like, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it," Matthew 16:25, echo the paradoxical wisdom of non-action or Wu Wei. In biblical narratives, key figures like Moses or Paul find their life's mission not by meticulously planning each step, but by surrendering to a greater plan and responding authentically to the situations they encounter. This relinquishing of control, akin to letting go, opens up a new avenue for authenticity and purpose. While the teachings may emanate from different cultural and religious settings, the underlying message remains strikingly similar: a fulfilling, authentic life might well be a byproduct of letting go of our preconceived notions and anxieties about purpose and meaning. Section 8 Case Studies and Personal Narratives. Case Study 1: The Corporate Executive Who Walked Away. Meet Sarah, a high-achieving corporate executive who seemed to have it all: the high-paying job, prestige, and a clear path ahead. Yet, she felt an inner emptiness. One day, she chose to walk away from her career to pursue her passion for wildlife conservation. While she faced societal judgment and a significant pay cut, Sarah found a renewed sense of purpose and authenticity by aligning her actions with her values. Case Study 2: The Artist Who Embraced the Absurd. David was an artist always in search of the big idea that would define his work and legacy. But the more he searched, the more he felt paralyzed. After studying existentialism and embracing the concept of absurdism, David began creating art without the burden of it having to mean something. The result was a more authentic, unrestrained form of expression, liberating him from the shackles of constant seeking. Personal narrative. Jane's journey to mindfulness. Jane had always been a planner, scheduling out every aspect of her life in the quest for meaning. Yet, this led to stress and the nagging feeling that she was missing out on life. Through the practice of mindfulness and the metaphor of the skimming stones, she learned to let go, living more in the present. For Jane, the result was a decrease in stress and an increase in daily joys, small and large, that she had often overlooked. Case Study 3: Downsizing to Minimalism. A Life Unburdened. Meet Emily and John, a couple who seemingly had achieved the American dream, a large suburban home filled with all the modern amenities. Yet, they felt burdened, both financially and emotionally, by the constant upkeep and the time it robbed from their true interests. They decided to take a leap of faith by downsizing to a tiny house, reducing their material possessions to the essentials. The transition wasn't easy. They faced skepticism from friends and family, and had to let go of items with sentimental value. However, what they gained was far more valuable. By freeing themselves from the need to maintain a large home and numerous possessions, they found they had more time to travel, engage with their community, and pursue hobbies that they had long neglected. Their downsizing journey represents a radical act of letting go, not just of material objects, but also of societal expectations and definitions of success. In doing so, they carved out a life that was more in tune with their values and aspirations, embodying the essence of living authentically. Each of these stories illustrates a different facet of living authentically, whether it is aligning with one's personal values, embracing existential freedom, or finding peace in the present moment. These real-world examples provide a nuanced view of what it means to let go of societal expectations in the quest for an authentic life. Section 9: Rejecting Consumerism. From Walden to Van Life. The journey to an authentic life often challenges societal norms, and one of the most pervasive norms in modern society is consumerism. The belief that buying and accumulating more things equates to happiness has been deeply ingrained, but many find liberation by opting out of this cycle. Walden Pond, A Lesson in Simple Living in the 19th Century. American transcendentalist Henry David Thoreau retreated to a small cabin at Walden Pond to live a life of simplicity, away from societal norms. His experiment was an early critique of consumerist values, focusing instead on self-reliance and the richness of a life closely tied to nature. For Thoreau, the key to authentic living was not material wealth, but spiritual and intellectual richness. Van life, the modern iteration. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the van life movement picks up where Thoreau left off. Individuals and couples are converting vans into mobile homes, freeing themselves from rent, mortgages, and excess belongings to live a more minimalistic, authentic life. This life on the road offers a modern way to reject consumerism, trading material comforts for experiences, community, and a closer connection to nature. Section 10. The commodification of authenticity. As the cultural tide shifts towards valuing authentic, meaningful lives, there is a growing trend of these once countercultural ideas being absorbed into mainstream marketplaces. It's a twist of irony that the quest for authenticity is itself subject to commodification. The authentic branding strategy today. Numerous brands tout their products as authentic or essential for a minimalist lifestyle. From rustic furniture, with an authentic feel, to essential oils promising a holistic lifestyle, the commercial world is quick to adopt these terms. This marketing strategy often preys on people's genuine desire to live more authentically, turning it into just another consumer choice. The van life paradox. Even lifestyle movements like van life are not immune to this trend. What began as a radical departure from consumer culture has been glamorized and commercialized through social media. Suddenly, there are must-have accessories for your van, sponsored posts, and even TV shows dedicated to van life, potentially diluting its original ethos. A double-edged sword. While the mainstream acceptance of these concepts could be seen as positive, it poses a risk of diluting the true essence of what it means to live authentically. The very act of seeking an authentic product or lifestyle can become yet another layer of consumerism, obscuring the deeper, intrinsic values these lifestyles are meant to represent. Certainly, the website Communication Generation focuses on life and career success, skills in communication, and staying ahead in the digital age. Given this, the article's relevance could be emphasized in the following ways. Section 15. Relevance for the communication generation audience. Navigating the digital age authentically. In a world where digital personas often overshadow real personalities, understanding the freedom that comes from living without prescribed meaning and purpose can be liberating. It can help you navigate your online life more authentically. Career choices and professional development. The constant search for meaning often extends to our careers. The idea that a job must be a calling can lead to unnecessary stress and job dissatisfaction. Learning to find joy and engagement in what you do, without the added burden of it being your ultimate purpose, can lead to a more fulfilling work-life balance. Skills in communication. A life led without the constraints of societal expectations for meaning can result in more honest and authentic communication. This is especially critical in a digital age, where clear and genuine communication is highly valued, but often lacking. Staying ahead in a rapidly changing world. The flexibility that comes with living without a rigid sense of purpose can make adapting to the fast-paced changes of the digital age easier. The skills of adaptability and resilience are key to staying ahead in today's world. Conclusion. A call to authentic living for the digital natives. As digital natives, the freedom from the relentless quest for purpose and meaning provides you with the adaptability, resilience, and authenticity needed in today's rapidly evolving world. Whether it's making career choices, communicating more genuinely, or simply finding peace amid the chaos, understanding these concepts can equip you for a successful life in the digital age. The liberating power of letting go. In a world obsessed with the quest for meaning and purpose, the pressure to define and pursue a calling can be overwhelming. Yet, as we've explored through philosophical insights, psychological perspectives, and real-world case stories, there exists another path, a path defined not by constant seeking, but by the art of letting go. Whether it's the existentialist embrace of life's inherent absurdity, the Zen wisdom of viewing ourselves as water rather than the ripples, or the biblical principle of surrender to a higher plan, These philosophies all point toward a common truth: life may be most authentic and fulfilling when we liberate ourselves from the need to ascribe it a predefined meaning. From Sarah's career shift, David's artistic liberation, Jane's mindfulness journey, to Emily and John's minimalist lifestyle, we see the transformative power of this simple yet profound act. These are not stories of resignation, but tales of empowerment and authentic living.